The Azimio la Umoja One Kenya leader Raila Odinga has issued fresh demands as both the government and the coalition head for the first structured bipartisan talks. We have details to that in a few. Good evening. It is 9 p.m. East African time. My name is Eric Munene. Our sign language interpreter is Catherine C. Malloy. But first, let's have a look at the highlights. Tonight, Azimio leader Raila Odinga weighs in on the proposed finance bill.
As a country, we will be killing innovation and leaving our youth with too few options, if any. We will not support this proposal.
Revealing that he has instructed the coalition's leaders to shoot down. Mukumu Girls High School reopens after a month due to health safety concerns.
Parents, we are saying that the school is safe.
However, some parents remain skeptical about the school's safety standards. Also tonight, we air the second installment of our special piece, The Last Wedding.
Je, wangeambiwa wajilipue? Si wangetulipua? Wangeambiwa wachukue mapanga wakatekate watu ambao si wa dhehebu hilo, si wangetukatakata?
Thank you for choosing us to inform you on the latest in the world of politics, business, sports, and much more. News Tonight begins now. President William Ruto's Finance Bill 2023 proposals have created jitters among the civil servants and now the opposition. The Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition leader Raila Odinga has raised concerns over the proposed bill, alleging that it was a move by the government to punish Kenyans. Odinga now says he has directed MPs allied to his coalition to vote against the Finance Bill 2023, saying it is a piece of punishment that Kenyans should be deeply concerned about. Our reporter Mike Kagongo kickstarts this bulletin tonight.
His Excellency
President William Ruto's administration targets to raise 2.8 trillion shillings in the 2023-2024 financial year. The Finance Bill of 2023 has, however, been described by the opposition as being overambitious, terming the new tax proposals as irrational. Azimio leader Raila Odinga opposed the move, directing the opposition members of parliament to vote against the Finance Bill 2023.
They are enjoying artificial majority in parliament, but we say that our members, those who are with the Azimio and who have got conscience, will oppose these proposals.
Speaking in Nairobi Monday, the former Prime Minister wondered why the Kenya Kwanza government wants everyone to contribute towards affordable housing, yet not everyone qualifies to own a house under the scheme.
In an economy where employees are already faced with reduced income due to high cost of goods, we find the introduction of this new tax irrational. It further reduces the amount of disposable income available to the economy.
The Treasury has formally proposed changes to the Employment Act to allow a deduction of 3% from employees' basic pay to help fund President William Ruto's ambitious plan to build low-cost homes. Odinga termed the move a unilateral decision that must be opposed. According to Raila, the tax should remain at 1% and should be applicable to sales of 1 million shillings and above.
Kenya Kwanza wants to deduct 3% of basic salaries to finance affordable housing scheme. How the regime arrived at 3% and not 1 or 2, nobody knows.
Raila demanded that instead of subjecting all government employees to new mandatory taxation, the regime should instead reduce the size of the government, do away with some cabinet secretaries, principal secretaries, directorates, advisors, aids, departments and cars gobbling up finances with no good value for money.
It makes no sense at all for a Kenya Kwanza operative to spend 20 million shillings on a chopper to distribute 1 million worth of food. It makes no sense for a principal secretary to spend 10 million shillings on a chopper to deliver 200,000 shillings at a fundraiser.
He demanded that domestic and international travel, conferences, workshops and trainings be reduced. Odinga said he had directed MPs allied to his coalition to vote against the Finance Bill of 2023, saying it is a piece of punishment that Kenyans should be deeply concerned about.
Kenya Kwanza members who also have got the interests of ordinary Kenyans at heart, some who still feel about the hustler which they used, will see the fallacy of trying to introduce these measures here.
This coming hours after workers' unions decried implementation of the planned tax regimes and urged Parliament to reject proposed amendments in the Finance Bill of 2023. Mike Kagwango, TV 47, Nairobi.
Azimio la Umoja has hinted on endorsing other options should the bipartisan talks, which have stalled, fail to work. According to the party leader Raila Odinga, the team has up to Wednesday to begin the bipartisan talks. And as Chepto Boit now reports, the Azimio team might be forced to go back to the streets at the slightest inconvenience from the Kenya Kwanza coalition. Have a look.
Azimio leader Raila Odinga has now given the government a 2-day ultimatum to begin the bipartisan talks. According to Odinga, the talks should start earnest Wednesday this week, failure to which they shall be forced to endorse other options available to them. The Azimio leader has in the past insisted on going back to the streets if the talks don't bear any fruits.
We have given them today and tomorrow. We have said that the talks must start in earnest on Wednesday. And if the delegation is not ready by Wednesday, we will treat that gentleman's agreement as cancelled. And we will then now explore other options available to us as Azimio.
Odinga says that Kenya Kwanza have shown signs of reluctance to the talks, saying members of Kenya Kwanza are not available to discuss the issues that have put them at loggerheads.
We knew that the real reason why they were doing it was because they were expecting the visitors were coming into town. And they did not want demonstrations at that time. But we did act in good faith ourselves because they said they were serious. Now we are seeing signs of reluctance. We're seeing signs of reluctance. Now all members of the other side are not available. They don't have a quorum to begin the discussions and so on.
However, Odinga has accused Kenya Kwanza of buying off its members and hence enjoying what they have termed as an artificial majority in parliament.
The requirement is that if a member moves from the coalition or political party in which he was elected, that member is required to resign his position in parliament and seek a re-election through a by-election into the new outfit in which he has moved. This has not happened. And you've seen members of, for example, Jubilee, who are an Azimio coalition, go on the other side. UDM was the first one to go. And now the scoop which is saying to have gone to the side.
Odinga had initially called off the protests on 3rd of May in light of the bipartisan talks. Odinga had given Kenya Kwanza an ultimatum of 30 days to conduct the talks. However, Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah says the talks could take up to 60 days before conclusion. Azimio la Umoja wants the talks to be held out of parliament, a move the Kenya Kwanza team has been stiff about, insisting the talks shall be held in parliament. Azimio wants non-parliamentarians involved in talks and the resolutions be passed without going through parliament for approval. Chepto Boyd, TV47, Nairobi.
Well, thank you, Chepto Boyd, for that. Now, Mukumu Girls High School has finally been reopened today after being closed for a month. The school was closed on the 3rd of last month following an outbreak of an unknown disease that led to the deaths of 3 students and 1 teacher. As our reporter Violet Auma reports, some parents have decided to transfer their children to other schools for fear of their safety.
After elaborate preparations for the official reopening of Mukumu Girls High School that had been closed for a month due to an outbreak of unknown disease, it has finally been reopened, with this year's Form 4 candidates being the first to arrive at the school. One by one, the students arrived ready for their studies. Here, 250 out of 462 Form 4 students who arrived being examined by medics at the school, as well as receiving counseling following the outbreak of the disease in the school last month, which claimed the lives of 3 of their schoolmates and a teacher.
In school, we have the psychosocial counselors who are dealing with the issues. Maybe if a student feels she needs to be counseled, she goes there. We also have medics who are around to check their medical documents. So before they are reporting back, we had requested their parents that they should take them to hospital so that they are checked. As they come back, they have come with their medical reports, but the medics on the ground are also confirming those reports.
The newly appointed school principal, Jen Mbone, said that the normal activities are expected to resume after the arrival of Form 3 students tomorrow, with Form 2 and Form 1 students expected to arrive on Thursday and Friday respectively.
We've gone in for new cereals, and already today we've received the beans. We have the public health officers around. They want to ascertain that the beans that has come in school is okay. Tomorrow we'll be receiving the maize. So we are not receiving any water from any other source. The only water we are receiving in school now is from the Lake Victoria. All the tanks were flushed. Everything else, it was also chlorinated.
Although some of the parents we spoke to expressed satisfaction with the measures taken by the school management to ensure safety of their children, some parents who decided to transfer their children had conflicting feelings.
Our candidates ndio walikuwa affected sana, but we want to thank God that when we came on 29th of last month, we were assured that most of the things had been rectified.
And we have been told all the precautions has been taken. And so we have to bring back the candidates.
Principal mwenye yako saa hii ni mtu mwenye anasikia maneno sister huyo. Nimekaa naye amenikaribisha, hata soda amenipatia nimekunywa. Tumekaa naye vizuri sana, tumeelewana na yeye.
So up to now I may not know the number that will transfer. But so far today I've signed around 4 for those transferring. But we've not had any candidate transferring. We only have Form 1 and 2 who are transferring.
This comes a few days after the government destroyed 800 bags of cereals that were suspected to be contaminated with poison at the school. Violet Auma, TV47, Kakamega.
Well, moving on, with the Kenya Kwanza government having been elected on the economic agenda for Kenyans, President William Ruto has appealed to Dutch businessmen to invest in Kenya in a bid to boost the micro, small and medium enterprises. Flora Limuki with more.
As President William Ruto continues to make efforts to improve the economy by focusing on small-scale traders, he has invited Dutch businessmen to Kenya to invest in micro, small and medium-sized enterprises on his tour to the Netherlands.
Bringing on board another 5 special and export economic zones in Kenya in Kirinyaga, for those of you who know the geography of Kenya, in Thika, in Nakuru, in Eldoret, and in Busia.
Ruto has reiterated that it is the government's commitment to making Kenya an attractive investment destination. The president also appealed to foreign investors to inject their finances in the affordable housing project, preventive healthcare, MSMEs, and the creative economy.
In the Africa strategy that we, as the private sector, developed in the Netherlands aims to double its trade and investment relationship with Africa. In the coming years, we look for equal and sustainable trade relations with Africa, not just for our own earning capacity, but more importantly, to create impact and broad prosperity in Africa. Within this strategy, Kenya is one of the countries we take a specific interest in, with all the opportunities it offers.
As you know, we import a broad range of high-quality agricultural products from Kenya, especially Kenyan flowers and horticultural products are all well known in the Netherlands. And besides agriculture, we see many opportunities for economic cooperation in logistics, life science and health, in water, renewable energy, and in e-mobility.
The visit has culminated into Malta's climate change, which is now a global threat to all nations, and the dangers it poses to generations and how nations can better tackle it. Flora Limuki, TV47.
Now to a special piece, thin stories of the discovery of grave sites, and emaciated people in Shakahola forest in Kilifi County hit the news. Questions abound as to why and how such atrocities went unreported for a period of time. An act that could have led to the deaths of hundreds of people, a majority of them being children. Journalists and human rights activists on the ground have also had their own share of trouble after they were barred from accessing Shakahola. Our reporter Sharon Baranga sought to find answers to these pertinent questions from Shakahola.
April 2023 has been a period when the country's focus has moved to churches and cults.
Kazi zote, biashara zote na kazi zote za dunia hii hazitoki mbinguni, zinatoka kwa shetani.
The influence and power some church leaders have on their followers has been questioned. Just how much is too much? The government has not been left out in the equation, as many condemned it for the laxity that is said to have led to the horrific deaths of hundreds of Kenyans. Here are shocking tales of the last wedding from Shakahola in Kilifi County. Shakahola is a name that gained prominence not only in the country, but internationally. All eyes are on this sleepy village that is predominantly home to the Giriama community.
Please don't step, can you step outside, please? Don't interfere with the investigation.
The little-known place is a sacred space for the Giriamas, but now, with the status quo, they feel Shakahola has been defiled by the horrific tales coming out of the forest.
Shakahola Kigiriama, Shaka, haya ni majina mawili. Shaka linamaanisha tabu, wazungu akasema misery ama predicament. Shaka hola inamaanisha kwamba ni kupoa, yani kitu ambacho kimefika mwisho, nimepona mimi. So maana Shakahola nikisema nitasema kwamba matatizo yangu yameisha, ama matatizo yangu yamepoa, ama kile nilichokuwa kinanisumbua nimepona. Kwa hivyo ukija kizungu kichanganisha, maybe in translation utasema my predicament has ended, ama my misery has ended. Kwa hivyo unaona, sijui kama Pastor Makenza alipeleka watu Shakahola kule mashaka yao yakaishe, ama wao kwenda kumuona Yesu mashaka yao yatakuwa yameisha. Wakati watu wetu walipopigania uhuru, tunapata mwanamke wa Kigiriama anaitwa Mekatilili wa Menza, ambaye alipigania hasa uhuru wa Kenya, mara nyingi uhuru wa nchi yetu ya Kenya na labda Afrika kwa ujumla. Mara nyingi hajaangaziwa kwa kipindi kirefu, ama hajaangaziwa kwa uwazi, lakini Mekatilili alipigania uhuru. Na pale Shakahola unapopaona, pale Shakahola ndipo pale Mekatilili wa Menza alipompiga kofi askari wa kizungu pale wakati alipokuwa amezuiliwa na akapigana naye, alimpiga kofi. So pale pana historia ya ushujaa. Na mahali pale kupitia na shirika la linaitwa Malindi District Cultural Association, Madka, wamekuwa kipaumbele sana pale mahali kukifanywa hizi shughuli za kucelebrate ama kusherekea Mekatilili festivals ambazo zinafanyika kila mwaka mwezi wa 8. So pale mahali palikuwa paekwe rasmi na pajengwe tunasema monument ya Mekatilili yani pawe mahali pa kihistoria. Kwa hivyo inavunja moyo na inakatisha tamaa kwamba mahali ambapo shughuli za kupigania uhuru wa Kenya, mahali pa ushujaa, sasa hivi pameingia, nitasema ni pepo, pameingia mambo ambayo hayaeleweki. Mahali ambapo palikuwa panastahili kuinuliwa kwa sababu ule ushujaa wa Mekatilili, sasa hizi unapata pale mahali ndo vifo vya halaiki vimefanyika. Kwa hivyo sisi kama Wagiriama tunaomba ya kwamba hata Mekatilili kule aliko, wajua watu huomba mizimu na huomba the ancestors. Tunaomba ya kwamba pale mahali lile jina la ushujaa liendelee kubaki pale pale. Na yale mambo ambayo yamefanyika pale, mahali ambapo yamefanyika pale, yametuvunja moyo sana. Kwa sababu ukiangalia Shakahola ni mahali pa ushujaa. Ndipo hata nimetangulia kusema ya kwamba mahali ambapo matatizo huishia, pale ndipo palipoanzisha harakati za ushujaa kutetea uhuru wa Kenya, na hata hivi sasa tuko huru. Lakini mahali pale pale mhubiriji mmoja amepageuza kwa mahali pa makaburi ya halaiki. Hilo ni jambo la kukatisha tamaa sana na kuvunja moyo.
Mvera Kazungu, a youth leader in Kilifi County, says she was once confronted by Paul Mackenzie of the Good News International Church after she posted a video of children who appeared to have been radicalized into believing going to school was not part of God's plan for them. The children fellowshipped at Mackenzie's church.
Wakati ule tukaja tukapata baadhi ya watoto ambao walihojiwa, na nilikuwa mmoja wa wale wa kusambaza ile video mitandaoni mwaka 2018. Na nikasambaza, nikawa nauliza, je, haya si mambo na watu wenye misimamo mikali? Nikatumia jina radicalization. Mbona hawa watoto wafundishwe mambo haya? Na watoto wenyewe ulikuwa ukiwauliza wanazungumza kabisa kwamba wao hawaoni umuhimu wa kusoma. Kwanza elimu ni dhambi, hawapasi kwenda shule, hawaendi hospitali. Na hata ukiwauliza kuhusu wazazi wao, wengine walikuwa wanasema wengine wazazi wao walikuwa wamo mle ndani ya lile kanisa na wengine hawakuwemo. Na ulikuwa ukiwauliza na wazazi wanasema nini? Wanasema sasa watufanye nini, si wenyewe tumeamua. Kwa hivyo wakawa na misimamo mikali tayari watoto, na chini ya watoto wadogo sana miaka 9, 10, 11 walikuwa na misimamo hiyo. So baada ya kupeperusha ile habari ama ile video, ile kanda mitandaoni, watu wengi walikuwa na hisia tofauti, hisia mseto, lakini wengi walikuwa wana condemn kile kitendo. Na hata Mackenzie mwenyewe alikuwa mmoja wapo aliye comment katika ile post, na akaniita mimi ni muongo, naeneza habari za uongo, nimemwona wapi akifanya vitu kama vile.
This is the video Mvera is referring to.
Wale ni waulize, nyinyi mnaenda kanisa gani?
Hapo nyuma.
Inaitwaje? Kwa hiyo mnaamini kuwa muende hospitali kwa mgonjwa, muende shule,
hospitali, hatuna marembo. Hiyo yote hatufanyi kwa sababu hiyo ni mali ya dunia.
Pastor wenu yuko wapi?
Pastor yuko hapo.
Kanisa inaitwa, yeye amewaambia msiende kanisa.
Si yeye ametuambia. Biblia linasema sasa wewe vile elimu. Soma hiki kitabu.
Na wazazi wako wapi? Wazazi wamewaambia waende shule.
Wazazi hawaendi shule.
Wazazi wanajua shule, wanajua msomo.
Wanajua, kwani atatufanyia nini? Maamuzi yetu wenyewe. Tumeamua wenyewe.
Wazazi hawaendi kwa hiyo kanisa?
Wanaenda. Wengine hawaendi lakini.
Kwa hiyo waamuzi wenu mmeamua kuwa muende kanisa.
Sio tu shuleni kwa sababu elimu si mpango wa Mungu.
Na baada ya yale yote department ya watoto ikishirikiana na asasi zingine za usalama ziliweza kufuatilia ile story na akashikwa, lakini akaachiliwa. Kwa hivyo haikuwa mara ya kwanza. Mackenzie amekuwa akishikwa anaachiliwa. Hata hii ya juzi aliachiliwa na 10,000 tu So si kitu ambayo haijakuwepo, ni kitu ambacho walikuwa wakipiga kelele. Na baada pale Malindi watu walipoona ya kwamba labda asasi za usalama zimezembea, walienda wakafunga lile kanisa. Na baada ya kufunga lile kanisa aliondoka akaenda tena eneo lingine linaitwa Madunguni Kakuyuni Ward. Akaenda akaanzisha kanisa. Kule pia watu wakalichoma lile kanisa lake wananchi. Ndipo pale akatoka akaelekea Shakahola. Sasa mwaka 2019 mpaka 2020 hapo. Ndo sasa akawa habari zake zimefifia kidogo. Lakini kisha akarudi baadaye wakati watu wakichukua huduma namba. Akaanza kupreacha kwamba huduma namba ni mpango wa kishetani, akasema namba 666, akawa anaambia wakaazi wa kwamba watu wasichukue huduma namba. Na naona pale pia serikali iliingia kati, akashikwa then baadaye akaachiliwa. So imekuwa hivyo, anashikwa, anaachiliwa, anashikwa, anaachilia. Mpaka mwisho sasa tukasikia haya Shakahola.
The horrific stories from Shakahola has left many with unanswered questions. Just how did we get here as a country? Where were the people that the government had tasked with ensuring security is in place in our communities? Who slept on the job?
Hatungefikia pale tulipofikia saa hizi iwapo serikali ingelivalia njuga hili jambo. Kwa sababu unaona serikali imeanzia kule chini ya mzee wa mtaa na imepanda mpaka huko juu. Ni jambo la kutamausha na la kuumiza maini kuona ya kwamba mtu anadhulumu watu, ananyanyasa. Mimi kwanza nasikia uchungu kuhusiana na wale watoto wadogo ambao hawana hatia na vile walivyokuwa wanafanywa. Kwa hivyo tumekuwa, hii ni Kenya, na tumeona watu wahubiriji wenye misimamo mikali. Haijaanza leo. Kuna wakati 2013, 2014 kulikuwa kuna kundi linaitwa MRC, Pwani si Kenya. Na tuliona vile asasi za usalama zilikuwa zinafuatilia kila hatua ya hili kundi. Mbona huyu ameachiliwa tangu hiyo time mpaka saa hizi na bado anaendelea kuumiza watu? Kwa hivyo mimi ninasema ya kwamba iwapo asasi za usalama zingekuwa macho zaidi na kufanya haya yote, kwa sababu hii haina tofauti na mtu anayefundisha hawa tunawaita terrorist. Haina tofauti, kwa sababu mimi nilikuwa najiuliza kama watu walikuwa wamewekwa kasumba ya kufunga mpaka kufa ama kuweza kuumiza watoto wao, je, wangeambiwa wajilipue? Si wangetulipua? Wangeambiwa wachukue mapanga wakatekate watu ambao si wa dhehebu hilo, si wangetukatakata? Sasa mimi nasema, na ni kitu ambacho kimetuumiza sana na kimetushangaza, kwa sababu usalama wetu uko wapi? Kama mtu mmoja anaweza kuua watu zaidi ya 100, je, tuko salama kwa kweli? Kwa hivyo kuna mahali serikali ilikosea, kuna mahali serikali ilizembea, na kuna mahali vitu hatuwezi kuchanganya. Hizi hesabu hazichanganyiki, kwa sababu sasa mtu anafanya vile kivipi? Kwa sababu mimi naamini kama ni mtu ambaye amekuwa katika rada ya vyombo vya usalama, amekuepo na amekuwa akishikwa akiachiliwa, tuhuma ni hizo, mbona hakufuatiliwa? Alipotoka Malindi mbona hawakumfuatilia yuko wapi? Na si peke yake Sharon. Kuna wengi ambao huku mashinani, kuna waombezi ambao wanaendeleza hizo itikadi. Utapata kuna watu wananyweshwa mafuta ya moto, kuna watu wanafanywa vitu ambavyo haviko sawa. Huku mashinani, yule anaweza kuwa alikuwa anaonekana na vyombo vya habari, lakini kumekuwa na watu wanaojiita waombezi ambao wamefanya mambo ambayo hayastahili. Watu wamekosa kwenda hospitali, wameaga, yani vitu ambavyo havisemeki. Kwa hivyo mimi naona serikali ni kweli haikufanya haki, haikusimama katika usalama wa wakazi, wananchi wake, hasa kwa watoto wadogo ambao wanapaswa kulinda kutokana na mambo yanayoweza kuwaumiza na hata zaidi kuwaua. Kwamba kila mzee wa nyumba 10 anafaa kujua ndani ya nyumba 10 zake ni nini kinafanyika. Kwa hivyo kitu kinachoshangaza ni kwamba watu tunashindwa kuelewa ni kwamba huyu mtu amekuja, mambo yanaendelea kufanyika pale, na hakuna mtu aliyeweza kuzungumza ni nini kilikuwa kinafanyika. Nitakupa mfano kwamba mimi nimekuwa Tanzania kutembelea kakangu. Unafika pale, ukishaingia tu pale katika ile nyumba, tayari mzee wanaita mjumbe wale. Mjumbe anakuja anasema nasikia kuna mgeni, anakuuliza maswali, umetokea wapi, uko hapa kwa sababu gani, na utakaa hapa kwa muda gani, na nakwambia wanakufuatilia mpaka ile siku utaondoka. Ukizidisha siku hiyo tayari ni ukapige taarifa ya kwamba unazidisha, hata kama ni siku moja, ni kwa sababu gani. Kwa hivyo unapolinganisha, naona labda Kenya hatujaweza kufahamu nyumba 10 inamaanisha nini, kwa sababu ingekuwa wazee wetu wa nyumba kumi wanafanya kazi inayostahili, basi mambo haya yasingefika pale alipofika. Kwa hivyo narudia kusema kwamba kwa uhakika na kwa ukweli serikali ilizembea.
The negligence witnessed in Shakahola prompted the government to make drastic decisions in its operations.
Government has decided that effective today, we will transfer all station, division, sub-county, and county heads and commanders of all agencies within Kilifi County effective today. We will replace them with their colleagues from elsewhere so that we can show the public that what we are doing is for the good of the country and for the good of justice. We are not implicating anybody, but we are saying if you are the OCS, if you are the commander or a person who ought to have either received a report or you may have received a report and failed to act, then you cannot be part of the team that is conducting the investigations. The optics are not looking good.
In the midst of the developing story in Shakahola is another party that is disgruntled by the manner in which they are being handled by the government. Immediately, the CS Interior left Shakahola, the area was gazetted as a scene of crime, which meant not everyone was allowed inside the forest. This decision was not taken lightly by journalists and human rights activists who say they have been at the forefront before the story broke out. They even helped in identifying the grave sites.
I'm actually not happy with the move by the government to deny us access into this, what they're now calling a disturbed area or a disturbed zone. Before it was disturbed, we went there. We disturbed the bushes and made roads. We disturbed the bushes and identified graves. We working closely with the various departments in there, and we managed to bring this story to the world, to the parts of Kenya and the entire world. Now they talk about Shakahola. So when we have such blockages, it hampers our work. It doesn't go well with us because we did a lot of groundwork, made roads into that forest. Government officials came in when it was just, it looked more of a tarmac for them. It was just an easy way through. We have known where these graves are. Right now we are saying they are actually crime scenes. We are able to identify this as a grave and this is the road. So we had ground rules on day 1, day 2. We worked so well and knew what not to do. I think if this is going to be applied again, we will be able to give Kenyans whatever is happening at Shakahola, minute by minute update, just as we did the entire last week. Yes.
I've been here in Shakahola from day 1, and we were counting the number of people we were rescuing and the number of people that were being exhumed from their graves. I'm concerned by the numbers that are coming in from yesterday and today. Yesterday we had 5. Today we are being told by 3 p.m. still another 5. But if you look at the statistics from the other days that we were all allowed to get inside, the media was allowed to get inside, human rights activists who actually we saw blue on this case were allowed, Red Cross was allowed. But ever since this place was gazetted as a crime scene, the figures are being suppressed. The figures are going down. That's what our concern is. That as a Kenyan, I have the right to information according to Article 34 and 35. If I'm being denied this right, I feel we will lose many Kenyans who actually have come here to get inside to be able to get their loved ones. But the government failed us from day 1, and now the government wants to suppress the numbers. So I will not be cowed. I don't care if I'm arrested, but we will say the truth, that this was a letdown by our own government, and they must be able to own it. They should be accountable. they must be able to be account for how many Kenyans have actually died in this Shakahola massacre. I feel more needs to be done, and the media and the human rights activists and other non-governmental organizations must be allowed inside Shakahola.
We've had a conversation with the regional commissioner, Madam Rhoda, and she's promised to be giving frequent updates every day 3 p.m. and then by 7 p.m. there'll be a release of information that has happened in between that time. So for her, she feels that would work for journalists. But for Media Council, we accept the fact that it's a national security issue. And in as much as we want to protect and respect what is going on there because of the dead and all that is happening, we also realize the
say the truth, that this was a letdown by our own government, and they must be able to own it. They should be accountable. They must be able to be account for how many Kenyans have actually died in this Shakahola massacre. I feel more needs to be done, and the media and the human rights activists and other non-governmental organizations must be allowed inside Shakahola.
We've had a conversation with the regional commissioner, Madam Rhoda, and she's promised to be giving frequent updates every day 3 p.m. and then by 7 p.m. there'll be a release of information that has happened in between that time. So for her, she feels that would work for journalists. But for Media Council, we accept the fact that it's a national security issue. And in as much as we want to protect and respect what is going on there because of the dead and all that is happening, we also realize the media freedom, that there are some violations that are going on when it comes to just accessing information. You know, under the Constitution, there's the guarantee of media freedom, Article 33, 34, 35 of the Constitution. So journalists are supposed to be given access to give information and to get information. Because now if we leave everything open as is, the likelihood of misreporting and social media getting away with all kinds of stories is very high.
On Tuesday, we shall talk to families whose lives have been altered forever as a part of their generations have been wiped out. Families left confused, bleeding, and reeling in pain. Sharon Baranga, TV47, in the county of Kilifi.
But I know that meat looks tender, but maybe not so much when your chest is burning. Remember what happened the last time? Hey, dude, you don't listen, man. Are you testing yourself? I tried looking out for you, bro. Hey, you see now? How's the heartburn? Look now, it's burning.
Do not hold back in any situation. Eno gets to work on the 6 symptoms of heartburn fast.
You do know you said all of that out loud, right?
If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
As you enter a new phase of life, you may seem lost until you discover the passion within.
I'm happy that MKU decided to open a branch in Malindi to make work easier for those parents who have never been away from their kids or children.
That's all the equipment that I need to study and all the facilities that I need.
Simply have one of the most beautiful and ultra-modern structure.
Join us at Mount Kenya University and Equip Africa Institute Malindi Odell Center to build your future. Intake in April for electronic learning and May for distance learning. Mount Kenya University.
Unlocking infinite possibilities.
Karibuni.
Mount Kenya. Welcome to the Mwai Kibaki Convention Center, the premier events venue. Our state-of-the-art facilities are designed to meet all your needs, from large-scale conferences to intimate meetings and everything in between. Located in the heart of Thika, the Mwai Kibaki Convention Center offers stunning views of the city skyline and is easily accessible from all major transportation hubs. Our facility features ample parking, free Wi-Fi, advanced audiovisual equipment, and our technical team is always on hand to ensure your event runs smoothly and seamlessly. Don't take our word for it. Make your next event unforgettable at the Mwai Kibaki Convention Center. Contact us today for bookings and reservations. Email multimedia@mku.ac.ke or call us on 0708 212204 or 0727 441733 or 0721 438 629 to learn more about our services and book your event.
Hi there, my name is George Washiri Optiven, and I'm very humbled to introduce to you Tulivu Gardens Phase 2. This property is adjacent to Konza Technopolis and only 4 minutes from the highway. This is a property whereby once you purchase it, you preserve your wealth, you build your wealth, you create your investment, create wealth for your generations. Don't miss this lifetime opportunity. Call this number right now, 0790 300 300. Optiven, inspiring possibilities. 23 years of impacting communities.
Radio 47, tuko nawe mchana kutwa na usiku kucha. 97.3 Nyeri.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Our special coverage of the Shakahola massacre right there by our senior reporter Sharon Baranga. The last installment airs tomorrow at 7 and 9 p.m. right here on TV47. But you can also catch the previous installments on TV47's official social media pages. Also catch it live on Radio 47 and the official Radio 47 social media platforms, and on www.tv47.digital for the digital version of it. We move on. One family in the Kiptuia area, Chesumei constituency in Nandi County, is calling for action to be taken against preacher Paul Mackenzie for misleading the public by allegedly using strong religious beliefs. They made these remarks after claiming that they are searching for their 5 loved ones who are believed to have disappeared in the Shakahola area.
They say the pain of a child is best felt by the mother, and that is exactly what this mother is going through. She claims that her son Wycliffe Omondi and his 4 grandchildren perished in Shakahola area of Malindi County.
Tulikuwa siku moja kama tunawatafuta baada ya mwaka moja. Mwaka wa pili ndio tulianza kujua hao watoto wameenda kwa Mackenzie. Tulipata contact ya Mackenzie kwa nyumba. Tukaangalia, tukasoma, tukapata jina ya Mackenzie iko hapo. Kila kitu iko hapo, namba yake iko. Tukampigia. Alishika simu na akarudi akafunga simu.
This family claims that the 5 loved ones disappeared in 2021 while they were in Kisumu County.
Shida ambayo iko ni ya kuwa nimepoteza watoto 3, ndugu na shemeji yangu kule Shakahola. Ilikuwa mwaka wa 2020 wakati ya mwisho wakati wao watoto walipotea.
Hao watoto kwa boma, sisi kwetu tuko na boma kule Kisumu, lakini hapa sisi tumenunua tushamba. Sasa walikuwa kwenye boma kule Kisumu. Hapo ndio mahali hao watoto walipotelea wakati wa kwanza.
Morris Yimbo, the father to Collins Lijodi, who is 14 years old, Godwin Maxwell, who is 17 years old, and Vincent Lihanda, 21 years old, claims that the 3 were taken to the area by the relative Wycliffe Omondi, who was living in Kisumu City.
Ndugu yangu alianza kushika mtindo ya kuwa anaenda kila wakati na kijana yangu mkubwa anaenda naye kanisa. Pili alikuwa anaenda naye kanisa, wakawa wanaendelea, wakawa wanarudi usiku. Wakirudi usiku saa 4 saa 5, nikiwauliza mmetoka wapi? Hatimaye tulienda Kakamega ama safari ya mbali. ikaenda ikawa sasa wanamaliza mpaka Monday wanakuja. Wanarudi Monday jioni. Nikamwambia ndugu yangu hii mambo sioni, nikaita wazazi nikaweka chini. Nikaongea nao.
Currently, these families pleading with the government, stating that even if the bodies of their 5 loved ones are confirmed through the ongoing DNA investigation, they will be unable to retrieve the bodies from Kilifi County.
Ile kitu tunaomba serikali ya kitaifa na serikali ya county pia, watoto wako mbali. Ikiwa mwili hizo zitapatikana, tunaomba msaada, hii mwili tuletewe nyumbani.
Mimi nadia na machozi yangu. Nadia kweli watoto wangu. Hatuna kuweza kufika Mombasa, hata mimi sikufika huko. Sina nguvu. Ruto asaidie sisi.
Chris Bet, TV 47.
Well, thank you, Chris Bet, for that piece. Turkana Governor Jeremiah Lamurkai has accused West Pokot County government for what he terms as plotting a scheme to forcefully hive off a piece of land belonging to the Turkana County government. In response, the West Pokot County government has rubbished the claims, calling upon the DCI to move with speed and intervene in the conflict. The story was produced by Andrew Juma.
Barely a week after President William Ruto ordered the installation of a police camp at Lami Nyeusi area, an area that has for the longest time seen locals perish through severe banditry attacks, Turkana Governor Jeremiah Lamurkai has fired back, saying the area belongs to Turkana County.
Mambo ya kukuja kujenga police station. Sisi hatuna shida na police station kuwekwa katika junction ambayo inaelekea Orokon ikielekea Kainuk na pia ikielekea Kitale. Hatuna shida nayo, lakini hiyo area iko ndani ya Turkana County government. Iko ndani ya Turkana. Mpaka iko mbali. Kuleta matrakta yenu. Kama matrakta yenu imekosa kazi, tafadhali mpeleke huko Kapenguria headquarters. Mwene mpaka huko. Lakini kuleta hizo matrakta kuja kufiaka area yetu, eti police station ya West Pokot inajengwa ndani ya Turkana County, ni uchokozi mkubwa. Na mimi kama gavana ambaye ninapenda amani, tafadhali hatutakubali huo upuzi.
Speaking in Lodwar, Governor Lamurkai accused the West Pokot County government of allegedly wanting to hive off part of the land and claim it.
Hiyo police force mpaka mimi nipokee kama gavana wa Turkana County, kwa sababu hiyo ardhi ni ardhi yetu. Hapo Kainuk hadi mahali inaitwa Marich, hapo ni county ya Turkana, na inatakana hiyo mchanga ambayo imepeanwa kwa security officers, watu wa KDF, watu wa ASTU, watu wa GSU, watu wa Kenya Army. Sisi tunasema karibuni mweke kambi hapo. Lakini jambo ambalo tunapinga, viongozi wa Pokot waezi kuja wakapeana greda na waseme hapo ni kwao.
In response, West Pokot County government has rubbished the claims, saying the area belongs to West Pokot County.
Tuseme mambo ya boundary tutafanya namna gani? Lakini uwezi enda kwa public uongee. Na sisi tunajua vizuri Lami Nyeusi ni upande ya West Pokot. Na sio siri. Na wewe mwenyewe gavana mzima unaelewa hivyo. Lakini unaenda kuambia Waturkana ati hiyo hapo Lami Nyeusi ni yetu. Hiyo ni uchochezi, na mimi nasema hiyo ni reckless. Na najua na tunasikia siri, kuna mambo wewe gavana wa Turkana unafanya mingi, tunasikia. Kuna mambo yako unafanya mingi na tunasikia wewe unachochea watu wa Turkana kupigana na Pokot. Sisi tumesikia mara nyingi. Wewe mwenyewe unachochea watu. Na unaongea nje pale ukisema unapenda amani. Upende amani.
Sisi tulikuwa marafiki na Kainuk. Tulikuwa na tumesoyana. Lakini kitu kidogo inafaa ile msozo ilianza kupigwa ng'ombe. Sababu ya ujinga ya kuambiwa hii watu wamenyang'anya sisi sijui ardhi yao.
Leaders from both counties are now calling the police to intervene, citing allegations of incitement.
Zile gazetted police post, kwa sababu ni serikali ndio iliweza kugazeti hizo police post. Na ni jukumu la serikali pia ilete polisi pale. na hawa polisi wakikuja hapo itawalinda wakaaji wa Turkana, itawalinda wakaaji wa Pokot. Polisi ni polisi ya Kenya, si polisi ya West Pokot.
The issue now has been escalated to President Ruto to intervene and find a long-lasting solution. Joash Onsare, TV 47.
The corridors of justice now, a case in which a Chinese national has accused a prominent politician and others of defrauding her 300 million Kenya shillings, will proceed this week after Milimani Commercial Division Court directed all parties in the case to file their responses by Wednesday this week. Justice Alfred Mabea has further said that he will issue further directions on whether the case should be consolidated after the main complainant, Ms. Montida Rashi, made the request. Montida says the money in question was withdrawn from her bank account to the individuals without her consent. Well, moving on, Kenya's prisons were once infamous, with Committee Maximum Prison being one of the worst. However, significant reforms were implemented during the tenure of former Vice President Mudi Awori. One such reform was the opening up of prisons to allow visitation by incarcerated individuals by their loved ones, as reported by Chichi Josephine.
Universal justice, integrity, leadership by example, credibility, loyalty and discipline is the motto to Kenyan prisons. It's been 20 years down the line since the paradigm shift reforms from punishment to correction and rehabilitation were introduced by the then Vice President Mudi Awori, popularly known as Uncle Mudi. Mudi Awori introduced a raft of reforms, among them opening up jails so that people could visit their relatives, introduction of beds and mattresses, television sets in cells, and the game changer was the introduction of education to inmates. In 2014, for the first time, an inmate graduated with a law degree, a clear indication that the reforms have had positive effect on the country's relapse rates.
Mkiwa hapa mmejifunza na mnafunzwa mambo mengi, kurekebisha tabia na kujifundisha utaalamu ambao mtatumia siku ile mtatoka hapa gerezani.
20 years later, the government still insists that prison should not be hell and should be a place of reforms and rehabilitation, according to the Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki, who announced that the government has plans to implement the reforms that were initiated by Awori.
We have initiated and drafted a new correctional services policy for our country. It is waiting cabinet approval. In another 1 month or so, we'll have a new modern correctional services policy for the Republic of Kenya.
With the total number of inmates in Kenya being over 100,000, the question remains, how possible will it be to provide humane treatment to every inmate? As for instance, a 3x6 bed goes for 3,000 and a mattress goes for 1,000 Kenyan shillings.
Tumeanza mpango wa kuhakikisha kila mfungwa katika taifa letu la Kenya lazima awe na kitanda na awe na mattress yake.
Decongestion of prisons could be a solution done only by
Well, we do apologize for that poor audio quality on that. Time now for the latest from the world of sport. Welcome. Kenya's most elite athletics event, the Kip Keino Classic Tour, is promising to be one of a kind as preparations gather momentum with the arrival of javelin champion Anderson Peters and American sprint sensation Shakari Richardson in the country. Now, a total of 7 international athletes landed at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport today morning, led by Peters, who was excited to set foot in Africa for the first time, as he noted that Kenya fans who appreciate javelin as a sport attracted him to participate in the event. Meanwhile, Shakari respectfully declined to take press interviews as she paced to her transportation ride under the cover of a face mask.
This is my first time here. I'm just looking forward to competing in front of a crowd that would really much appreciate javelin, because Julius here was a javelin thrower from Kenya, so I'm looking forward to a great supporting crowd for the javelin event. Competing with him since 2017 and following his career and his successes over the years. I know him pretty well, and he's always a good competitor, so I look forward to competing against him here. Really interested into getting involved in the tradition here, learning some more about the roots of the African people, and familiarizing myself with it a lot more.
I'm glad to be back. I mean, I was here last year, and I had my injury that I kind of had early on, so